All right, so now that we've looked at midpoint and distance, we're ready to apply both of those things into finding the area or perimeter of polygons, which will be triangles, rectangles, parallelograms, squares in the coordinate plane. But there are two ways that they could ask the question. As always, this whole unit is about it being from points, so they don't give you a picture, or from the coordinate plane where they give you a graph. If they don't give you a picture, remember, you can put it in decimals and now you have a picture. Okay, so it's the same exact thing. All right, so the height of an isosceles, and let's talk about that word. What does the word isosceles mean? Isosceles just means that there are two identical sides and the bases of those sides are identical or congruent, if you want to use the term that you're going to see in geometry. So the height of the isosceles triangle ABC is determined by drawing a line through A. So where's A? Right here. And the midpoint segment of BC. So here's BC, and they're saying wherever the middle of that is, 2A is the height. Okay, so I'm just going to roughly draw it for right now. What you really need to know is that the height of any triangle and the base must make a 90-degree angle. And I'll explain that a little bit later. For right now, we don't need it. All right, so mark the triangle with what isosceles means. Okay, so what that means is if they're talking about the height of the triangles from here to here, they're telling you that this and this is equal to one another. Okay, that's isosceles. Isosceles means this and this is equal, and you don't need this here, but I'm just going to put it. Also, those base angles of those two identical sides are also equal. You need that in geometry, but you don't need it in algebra. All right, so when you see the tick marks, it means that they're equal. That's what you need to know. Okay, so what are the coordinates of A? So let's go ahead and write that down. That's 3, 0. What are the coordinates of B? Negative 3, 1. What are the coordinates of C, which is 2, negative 6? All right, so one thing we have to get good at is definitely reading the coordinates or being able to put the coordinates into decimals, whichever way the question is asking. What is the ordered pair of the midpoint M? So this is going to be labeled the midpoint M, and they're asking you what is that coordinate, and it's going to be roughly between anything between negative 1 for X and negative 2 point something for Y. So go ahead and find the midpoint. And how do I find the midpoint? And again, remember, I want to see all your work. So let me make some space. All right, midpoint, what do? Add them together and divide by 2. Okay, so go ahead and do that. So what am I adding together and dividing by 2? I'm trying to find the midpoint of B and C. So which coordinates do I use? B and C, because I'm trying to look for that midpoint. All right, when you do that, what is the height of the triangle? So the height of the triangle is said by this line. It is the distance from A to M. That's why you're seeing the distance formula here. What are the two coordinates I'm using? A and M. So you're going to write down those two coordinates, A, M, and then using your knowledge from a previous video, or if you need the formula, it's right there. All right, you're going to label those coordinates A and M, X1, Y1, X2, Y2, and then put them in where they go to. So this is going to be A, M equals, and then you're going to tell me what it is. Now, even though you're rounding to the nearest tenth, make sure you also write what it is in radicals for later. All right, number 5, what is the length of the base? And it makes a 90 with the height. Okay, so what is the length of the base? So I'm telling you the base is BC because it makes a 90-degree angle with this height. So now find what is BC. All right, so this is just a review from a previous video to make sure you know. So find the distance, BC. All right, what is the area of a triangle? The area of any triangle is 1/2 times the base times the height. So the area of this triangle is going to be 1/2 times the base, which we just said, what was the base? It makes a 90 with the height, which is BC. So this is the base times BC, the height, and the height is this right here, which is AM. So basically, what you're going to do is do 1/2 times, and then whatever answer you got for BC, whatever answer you got for AM, unrounded, and multiply that by 1/2 and simplify it. And then finally, number 7, what is the perimeter of the triangle ABC? So the distance from A to B plus the distance from B to C plus the distance from C to A. So that's why you have 3 things here, because you need to find those distances there. So I'll start you again from A to B. So put that right here. From once you're there, B to C. So put that right here. Once you're there, from C back to A. C back to A. All right, once you find all those individually, remember you're going to add them all up. Perimeter. Once again, do not round before you add them all up. Add the whole thing up 3 times, then round. Let's practice.